Hey there, my name is Tim Stoddart, and in today's video, I am going to give you a behind the scenes look as to what I am building with my agency and my directories and my newsletter. You need a little bit of context for this video. This video is a little bit different because I'm going to be freestyling it a little bit, but somebody asked me a question yesterday. Somebody asked me that if they're creating an agency and they said, I want to sell this agency in like 3 years, what should they do in order to put themselves in the right position to be able to exit, to sell their agency? And it really got me thinking. I've been thinking about it for the last day. And so in today's video, I am going to share with you the answer, and I'm also going to give you a little bit of a breakdown as to what I am building, why I am building it, and hopefully you can take some of these tips and some of this advice and use it to build your own company. All right, let's dive right in. Before I dive into the specifics, I need to tell you about this business model that I've replicated over and over again. I've done the same thing over and over again. And for those of you who watch my videos, I may be repeating myself, but it's important to understand. In order to understand the why, you need to understand the what. So it's always the same thing. I have a service business, I have a newsletter, and I have a directory. The directory isn't always a web directory, but the point is like a scalable product, something that isn't directly related to the agency. And so, why have I done that? Why have I created this model over and over again? Well, let me show you. Here's the gist of it. This is really why I do what I do. In my opinion, the best business models for regular folks like you and I is threefold. It's service, it's product, and it's marketing. Okay. The service is the agency. I've spoken about this many times. It's really great to start with the service business. The reason is because there's basically no upfront costs. As soon as you get your first client, you have revenue. They're instantly profitable, right? You bake in profit margin to every client. So as soon as you get your first client, you are making money. You're not just getting revenue, but you are also generating profit. And third is because they're high ticket, right? So you can have 5 clients and be doing $25,000 a month in revenue, no problem. It is not uncommon to have a $5,000 a month client if you have like a high level service business. This is totally reasonable to think. And so for that reason, if you're just getting started, having a service business, in my case, it's always an agency, but it doesn't have to be. It could be a consulting firm, a coaching firm, whatever it is. It needs to meet those criteria. Low upfront costs, instant profitability, and high ticket. That's really great. The downsides to agencies is the opposite of that, right? There's low scalability and there is low profit margins in relation to other kinds of businesses. Like you can probably hit 30, 40, 50% profit margin with an agency. That's not, an 80, 90% profit margin like with a digital product business or some kind of SaaS product or a tech product where you have a lot more scalability, right? So the advantages to an agency is also the disadvantages. And so for that reason, I always like to attach some kind of tech product to the agency. There's a really great example of this. Scott Galloway talked about it in one of his podcasts. Galloway is like a podcaster now, he's basically an influencer. And he created a consulting firm called L2, and it was an analytics agency. He would basically be hired by big companies, and they would hire him to do research, basically to write research reports like market research, insights on the ideal customer, insights on competitors. And through this, he saw an opportunity where he had the service, but he also knew that he could build like a database. He could build a tech product attached to it. And so companies would hire him on a monthly retainer to put the reports together, to fly across the world and do these presentations. But the margin on it was so much higher, and the multiple on the business when he sold it was so much higher because there was this scalable tech product attached to it, right? There was some IP, there was some tech that he could protect. And so this database, I think you said he had like 1,200 research points that he would go through with hundreds and hundreds of companies. And so he had this giant pool, this insights tool that he had connected to his service, right? Okay, so we have the service, we have the product, and lastly, we need the marketing. And in my opinion, although I don't necessarily think this is opinion, I think this is kind of a statement, this is a fact. The best marketing tool is a newsletter. is an email list. So you should know that even if you have social media and YouTube and podcasts and you have other forms of media, those forms of media basically exist as a way to funnel traffic to an email list, right? And through the email, you have a direct relationship with your customers, with your audience, with the people who want to learn from you. And so, with those three things combined, you have the best of all scenarios. You have high ticket, instantly profitable, low risk. You have the product, which is way, way profitable, takes some upfront costs because you have to build the product, but you can fund the product through the revenue and through the profits that you make with your agency. And then the two of those combined creates brand awareness. It builds a reputation for you. It creates authority for you to then have a marketing channel. So it's this giant snowball effect, right? Where the bigger your email list gets, the bigger your services get, the more valuable your product gets. The bigger your product gets, the more awareness is around it, which means the whole entire thing, the service, the product, and the marketing can all be packaged and bundled and sold at a ridiculously high multiple. So, to give some examples, if you have an agency, let's say you have a successful marketing agency and you're doing $1 million a year, right? Well, you can sell that company at like a 2.5x of revenue, which means you can probably sell your agency for $2.5 million. And that sounds great, but like it's not that much considering how hard it is to build an agency, the time you have to put into it, the amount of time it's going to take to get to $1 million. It's a lot of work for not like a big payout. Whereas a tech company, I mean, we can go extreme and use like $1 billion tech company like OpenAI or something, but we'll just do something reasonable, like a maybe an EMS, like ConvertKit or something like that. ConvertKit could probably sell at like a 30x multiple. So I don't know how much revenue they make. Let's just say they do $1 million a year. You could probably sell that thing for like $40 million, right? And so you have the low risk, high revenue of an agency, and then you can apply the high multiple that your tech product brings with it. In addition, your marketing is in house as well. So if you're trying to sell a company, you don't, buyers like to buy companies that have marketing inherently baked into it. They don't like companies that need to spend a lot of money on ads, or even if they do spend a lot of money on ads, they already have like a proven funnel or a proven system to convert ad spend into revenue and profit. They know what their cost per acquisition is going to be. They know what their LTV is going to be. And when you have marketing, when you have already created and an in-house marketing channel that can build the service and the product together in unison, well, now you just have like a killer machine that doesn't take a whole lot of work. It doesn't take a team of thousands of people. You can have you and a small team of 5, 10 people, 30 people if you're going crazy, right? But you're still generating millions of dollars a year and you have a potential high seven figure, low 10 figure, maybe even middle 10 figure exit if you want to. So that's the system. That's what I do. This isn't necessarily anything that I invented. I just kind of fell into this through luck and through experimentation, and it's really worked out for me. So now that you understand why I do what I do, let me show you why I like directories. Directories fit really well into this because instead of building a tech product, like a SaaS product, I've just replaced that with directories. And the reason is because directories fit really well into my agency style, which is lead generation. So let's just take a look. This is my agency. This is quantumleads.com. I specialize in working with healthcare businesses. This is my newest directory. I'm building a lead gen directory in the stem cell space. Quick little side note, I've been building stem cell authority by using my own product, directory.app. This is a badass tool. I did a video about it last week that's going to help you create your directory in a couple minutes as opposed to a couple months. It's an AI tool that we built that's going to really assist with you on that. So this is just another example as to having some IP, something that you can protect and something that has scalability. So I'm using Directly to build stem cell authority. In addition, I'm building longevity local. This is very similar. You can see that I've just programmed it. I still have to do all of the copy and do all the bells and whistles and that stuff, but this is a worldwide directory really on longevity clinics. So this runs the gamut of what a longevity clinic is. These are testosterone clinics, these are light therapy clinics, all types of stuff. But anti-aging and longevity is an industry that I am absolutely going to be working with, especially with TRT clinics, as my agency, as lead gen clients. In addition, here's another one. This is all about autism agencies. So autism is an industry that I find really fascinating. It's very, very important. The numbers for autism are like kind of interesting. And the way that this one is going to work is through filters, because there's really no such thing as like autism treatment. There's different modalities. Like some people that are neurodivergent have like speech problems. Some people have behavior problems. There's music therapy. There's all types of things that go into helping kids, especially, but also adults that are neurodivergent. And so these assets, once they're completed, this is going to be part of the portfolio. You know, these are all going to be, it's a lead generation network. This is an autonomous platform that you can buy into or you can participate in, that is adjacent but connected to the agency. So when this is all said and done, there's going to be the about page, the industries we serve page, the services page, our platforms in which I'm going to list all of the lead gen directories that I own, and then lastly the newsletter. And the newsletter is something that starts next week, actually. There's going to be a weekly newsletter all about the business of healthcare, especially like new age healthcare. You know, I'm not very interested in like ERs and ORs and sick care. I'm interested in healthcare and helping people get healthy and remain healthy. So this is the entire platform, right? This is how it all works in unison. So like I said, this is going to be a little bit different because I'm sort of just giving you my thought process here. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing. This is what I've done before with Recovery Local and Stasi and the Census. You know, this is what I've done with Copyblogger and with Copyblogger Academy and with digital commerce partners. You know, it's always the same three elements. It's always this trifecta. You have the service, you have the product, and then you have the marketing. And when those three things are packaged, when they're bundled, it's it just makes for a very opportunistic exit, and it makes for a very opportunistic business model, because all three of these elements are self-fulfilling. Like they ratchet each other up. When one grows, they all grow, and then when they all grow, they all grow, right? The bigger it gets, the bigger it gets. I hope this makes sense for you. There's always just made a lot of sense for me inherently, the connection between lead generation directories, lead generation agencies, and newsletters all about lead generation within a particular space. This is sort of my flow. This is what I love to do. But I encourage you to take this little wheel, this flywheel model that I've created, and see how it works for you. You know, maybe you enjoy building SaaS products. Maybe you can build like a little micro SaaS. And so then you create like a little micro SaaS agency, and then you create a little micro SaaS newsletter. Maybe you're into esports. You know, I think esports is a fascinating industry right now. And so maybe you have like a team that you built, which could be considered your service. And then maybe you have like a server or some kind of like digital product where you can you can monetize other esports players, right? And then there's some kind of newsletter attached to it. These are just examples off the top of my head, but I think you get the point. You know, I think you understand how these three elements work in tandem together. So give it a shot. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm really excited to hear your questions and to see other examples of how you might be putting this flywheel together. And appreciate you guys. I'll see you on the next one.